Layla Bennett had always been the good girl. She followed the rules, stayed out of trouble, and never let her heart lead her astray. That was, until she met Kai Donovan. With his leather jacket, motorcycle, and devil-may-care attitude, Kai was everything Layla knew she should avoid. But there was something about him, something dangerous and irresistible, that drew her in. Their relationship had been a whirlwind of passion and chaos. But when Kai got into a fight at her brother's wedding, Layla had finally had enough. She broke up with him on the spot, leaving him standing in the middle of the reception hall with a bloody lip and a broken heart. The fight had started over something stupid. A drunken guest had made a comment about Layla, and Kai had reacted with his fists. Layla had been mortified. Her brother's wedding was supposed to be perfect, and Kai had ruined it. "Kai, I can't do this anymore," Layla said, her voice trembling. "You're always causing trouble, and I'm tired of cleaning up your messes." Kai's eyes were dark with regret. "Layla, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." "Save it," Layla interrupted, holding up a hand. "I don't want to hear it. We're done." She turned and walked away, leaving Kai standing there, his heart in pieces. Weeks passed, and Layla tried to move on. She threw herself into her work, avoiding anything that reminded her of Kai. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't get him out of her head. One evening, as she was leaving work, she found Kai waiting for her outside. He was leaning against his motorcycle, his hands shoved in his pockets and his expression unreadable. "Kai," Layla said, her heart skipping a beat. "What are you doing here?" Kai stepped forward, his eyes locking onto hers. "I came to apologize." Layla crossed her arms, trying to look unaffected. "You already did that. At the wedding, remember?" Kai shook his head. "No, I mean a real apology. I messed up, Layla. I know that. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for ruining your brother's wedding, for causing trouble, for everything. But most of all, I'm sorry for losing you." Layla's breath caught in her throat. She hadn't expected this raw, vulnerable side of Kai. It was disarming. "Kai," she began, but he cut her off. "Let me make it up to you," he said, his voice soft but firm. "Give me one more chance. Please." Layla hesitated, her heart warring with her head. She wanted to say no, to walk away and never look back. But deep down, she knew she couldn't. She still loved him. "One chance," she said finally. "But if you mess up again, that's it. No more second chances." Kai's face lit up with a smile, and he pulled her into his arms. "You won't regret this, Layla. I promise." Kai kept his promise. He was on his best behavior, doing everything he could to prove to Layla that he had changed. He took her on dates, surprised her with flowers, and even started volunteering at a local shelter. Layla was impressed, but she couldn't shake the feeling that it was too good to be true. One evening, as they were walking through the park, Layla turned to Kai. "You've been different lately. What's going on?" Kai shrugged, his hands in his pockets. "I told you, I'm trying to be better. For you." Layla's heart melted a little at his words. I don't want you to change who you are, Kai. I fell in love with you, not some perfect version of you." Kai stopped walking and turned to face her. "I'm not trying to be perfect, Layla. I'm just trying to be the man you deserve." Layla's eyes filled with tears, and she reached up to cup his face. "You already are, Kai. You always have been." Kai leaned down and kissed her, his lips soft and tender. It was a kiss full of promise, of hope, of love. Layla melted into him, her heart swelling with emotion. But just when things seemed perfect, drama struck. Layla's ex-boyfriend, Ethan, showed up out of the blue, determined to win her back. He was everything Kai wasn't: stable, reliable, and safe. Layla's family loved him, and they made no secret of their disapproval of Kai. "Layla, you need to think about your future," her mother said one evening over dinner. "Ethan is a good man. He can give you the life you deserve." Layla sighed, pushing her food around her plate. "Mom, I'm with Kai now. And he's trying to be better." Her mother frowned. "Trying isn't good enough, Layla. You need someone who's already there." Layla's heart ached. She loved Kai, but she couldn't ignore her family's concerns. She needed to know that Kai was in it for the long haul. Kai knew he had to do something big to prove to Layla that he was serious. So, he planned a grand gesture, a public apology at her brother's wedding anniversary party. He stood up in front of everyone, his heart pounding, and spoke from the heart. "Layla, I know I've made mistakes. I know I've caused you pain. But I love you, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I don't want to lose you again." The room was silent as everyone waited for Layla's response. She stood up, her eyes filled with tears, and walked over to Kai. She took his face in her hands and kissed him, pouring all her love and forgiveness into that one kiss. "I love you, Kai," she whispered against his lips. "And I believe in you." From that day on, Kai and Layla were inseparable. They faced their challenges together, stronger than ever. Kai continued to prove himself, and Layla's family slowly came around. They realized that Kai wasn't just a bad boy, he was a man who loved Layla with all his heart. One evening, as they sat on the porch swing, Layla turned to Kai. "Do you remember when you apologized at the party?" Kai grinned. "How could I forget? It was the scariest moment of my life." Layla laughed, leaning into him. "It was also the most romantic." Kai kissed the top of her head. "Anything for you, Layla. Anything." Years later, Kai and Layla stood at the altar, surrounded by their friends and family. As they exchanged vows, Layla's heart swelled with love and gratitude. She had taken a chance on the bad boy, and it had paid off in ways she never could have imagined. "I love you, Kai," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "And I'm so glad I gave you a second chance." Kai smiled, his eyes shining with tears. "I love you too, Layla. And I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret it." As they kissed, the sun set behind them, casting a golden glow over their happily ever after.